I didn't receive one of those, but I'm more than happy to introduce Jill. So I think most of us know Jill Duskin. She's going to be doing her classification talk today, and let's all give a nice warm welcome to Jill.
Good morning. Thank you. Well, I'll get started here by thanking everybody for allowing me to take your time this morning and share my story. I have found it's really hard to condense your life into a nutshell, so I apologize if I might seem all over the board, but I think I've pared it down fairly well. Just going to touch here and there and share what I've got. Well, as you all know, my name is Jill Duskin. I am married to Brent Duskin, who is, if some of you don't know, that is David and Dale's nephew. Bryce and all of the other, they're all cousins. It just seems like our family is, you know, there's so many boys around here. It's making the connection. Sometimes you need a whiteboard to show where everybody's at. Brent is a graphic design artist. He has his own business, marketing, advertising. He's been volunteering his time the last, gosh, how many years has it been now? I've lost track, 5 years or more maybe, for the Arlington Education Foundation. He does all of the graphics, the tickets, the advertising. He's been kind of in the background working on that. They're transitioning over to try to do everything virtually this year, so that's exciting. To go back a little bit in my history, give you guys some idea of my background. I grew up in the Shoreline area. Originally, my mom and dad grew up in Tacoma, Washington. And first, I'm getting my lineage mixed up here. They were married in Tacoma, Washington. We moved to California for a little while, settled in the Shoreline area where I went to school. And I'm sorry, I've got notes going here and I'm getting myself a little scrambled, so I apologize. I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna go back again. Sorry about that. I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm gonna go back that far. My dad was transferred there from Tacoma, Washington. He took a big promotion with a moving company, and that was they were moving the military over there, and my father was in charge of the moving containers and whatnot. That was about 1956 or so that we moved there. I'm the youngest of 4 girls. I was born in '62, so I was kind of the surprise while they were in Hawaii. My mom was not very keen on living in Hawaii at the time. It was a very different lifestyle back then. My sisters were not treated very well. They were actually the minority back then. And so we moved back to the Seattle area in about 1965 or so. I was only about 3 years old. Between me and my oldest sister, there's an 11-year span. So my older sisters were in high school or going into high school, and they were having too rough of a time back then with, well, a couple of friends had gotten beaten up. My sisters were threatened a lot back then. They were just, you know, the young girls back then didn't like the blonde, blue-eyed girls that were in school, and it was it put a bad taste in my mom's mouth for the island life. So we came back to the States and settled in the Shoreline area, where I met my husband, Brent. They had settled there also, and we went to Shoreline High School. And that's kind of where his and my love story starts. I graduated in 81. He was 79, and we started dating right about then. And to move forward a little bit, we ended up getting married in 1986. We're going to be celebrating 35 years this next year. We have 3 wonderful children. Presley is 30 years old. She's the one that we had to delay the wedding for. I'm going to do a quick screen share here, and I'll show you my children for those of you who, oops, I'll get rid of this. Yes, we do have 2 Wazoo graduates. This is my daughter Presley. She graduated from Wazoo, and this is Evan's graduation in 2017. Presley's our oldest, she's 30. Dennis, our middle child, our son, he's a graphic design artist also. He's 27. And this is our daughter, Evan. She works at Zillow. She graduated, obviously, in 2017. She's our baby. Presley, I'll go back to her. She works at Starbucks corporate right now. Everybody is working from home and doing great. Their companies, it's amazing. Their numbers have not dropped off. They are doing very, very well. It's kind of shocking how well they're doing, but those bigger companies are hanging in there with their their employees working from home. They seem to have transitioned very well, and they're using their time accordingly. Since I'm on my screen here, I'll show the rest of our family. This is our old geriatric dog named Gracie, who is 15 years old, and she's going to be probably our last pet once she's gone her separate way. We've had animals in our life for, gosh, between Brett and our relationship, it's probably 38, 39 years. And we're going to take a break after she's passed, but she's sure been a good dog. We've been through all of our labs and critters through the years, and it's just time to take a break with that once she's moved on. Let's see here. As far as where we live, obviously we're in Arlington now, but to backtrack a little bit, we raised the kids primarily in Marysville, Washington. They did their early education there. In the early 2000s, we moved to Overland Park, Kansas, purely for a business move. Brent wanted to be closer to a client, and we uprooted everybody and moved to Kansas. And it was a pleasant surprise. I went there sight unseen. I had never lived anyplace else but Washington State, and Kansas is a very nice, beautiful, well-kept secret. Everybody always asked us, about cornfields and farms, and where we lived in Overland Park, it was nothing like that. It was absolutely beautiful. We had some rolling hills, definitely not mountains, but it was beautiful. But our hearts weren't, set there, and we decided to move back to Washington in the about 2004-ish range, 3-4, and we were thinking about, where we were going to settle down, and obviously Arlington was a huge pull for us because of having family in the town, and that felt good. It felt really good to know that we had a support system, and that was it, really. We just felt that, that pull, and loved the small town, and got us away from, the Seattle area a little bit at that time. We just loved the feeling of being more up north. all of the kids went to Arlington High School, graduated from there, and then, like I said, our two girls went to Wazoo and enjoyed that experience, and now they're all off on their own. They've flown the coop, and we have just moved on to that next level of raising children. Oh, let's see here. I'll go back. I've worked off of a questionnaire that I was given. So if I'm sounding like I'm going in steps, I am. I'm following along here to make sure I cover everything that was asked of me. My first job was such a surprise. I'm sure there's other people that started in the fast food business. That's where I came in. I worked at Jack in the Box, got my first work experience there, and moved on to other fast food restaurants before deciding what I wanted to do in life, which quite honestly, I didn't know. Our family, my parents did not go to college. They never talked about it. I did have an older sister that attempted to go to University of Washington, start a nursing field, but that didn't work out for her. And that was about the it of our college experiences in the family. And I had mom came into the picture and said, I need to decide what I'm going to do. I had no idea. And I had two older sisters that were in the hairdressing field. And so I decided that sounded good. I was going to go to cosmetology school, and I got my cosmetology license, which I am so glad I did in retrospect. I mean, I enjoyed it all the way around during that time, but I think it's just really good for people to have that type of a job, whether it be, if you're a barista, cutting hair, anything. I just feel anything maybe more in the labor force, or however you want to categorize it. I don't know, but it's always something I felt that I was able to fall back on, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I really value that education that I did decide to take. I use it to this day. I've saved a lot of people time and money as far as going to hairdressers. I know my own daughters are very thankful. If any of you have daughters that go to hairdressers, you'll know what I'm talking about, because it costs a lot of money for women to get their hair colored these days. It's unbelievable the money that hairdressers can make in that field. So it's a great one to be in, and I thoroughly enjoyed that time of working in shops. And but also with that, for myself, I was an independent contractor, and as you all know, you don't get benefits with being an independent contractor. And so let's see, as far as timeline is concerned, I decided to make a change from cosmetology to go into something that would benefit me with insurance, because Brent and I had gotten married during this time. We got married in '86. I was doing hair, and we were starting to talk about having children. This is 87, 8 in there, that time period. And so I thought, what else would I like to do? I love working one-on-one with people. And I thought about going into the medical field. I thought that would be something that I could, that I would enjoy. It sparked my interest, and I could work one-on-one with people. And so I decided to apply for front desk reception in an ophthalmology office on Capitol Hill. Dr. Harmon, I'm sure, is very familiar with Dr. McKillop and Dr. Boylan and some of those doctors that I worked with down there. And I really, really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I started at the front desk. It was a very big, busy office. We had four full-time front desk receptionists. And I moved on to being the manager of the front desk and doing some back office one-on-ones, assisting the doctors with in-room assisting, things like that. So it was a really, really good experience for me. Brett and I decided to move up north during this time span, and I quit there, and we got settled in Arlington, and I wasn't working at that time, and decided that I needed to do some more, get back into the working field. And I actually did go to work for Dr. Harmon for a couple of years, and it was so nice because the offices were so close, and I just really enjoyed working in his office. It was a very busy office. I learned a lot. It was just a really good experience. And again, I'm so glad I went down that line, because I think it is something that I could always fall back on if I wanted to. I was very grateful to be in that position. And I think I was with Dr. Harmon for a couple of years, and then we had more children during this time, and I felt the pull to be at home and be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't like the idea of somebody else raising my children. It just never sat well with me. So we tightened the belt a lot, and I stayed home. And thankfully, my husband's business had a kind of a offshoot, a client that I was able to work for many years, doing some work for that business, for that client of his, and was able to be home with the kids and do the soccer practices and be the homeroom mom, that type of thing. I did during this time, about 1990, I decided to change careers possibly again, and I went and got my real estate license in the early 90s, thinking I could juggle children and home life and sell real estate, and that didn't work out. It just, at the time, I tried it, and I had a baby at home, and I again felt the pull to be with her more and raise her on my own, and not Brent and I were just too all over the place with him being home and watching her, or her being at my mom's and that whole deal. And so I let my license go or on hold, and I just became a stay-at-home mom full-time, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I stayed home with our kids all through school, and it's nothing I've ever regretted. I eventually, I'm throwing us into the future here. I decided to go back and get my real estate license about 4 years ago. That is my full-time occupation once again. It was always, when I stopped utilizing my license in the 90s, that whole time after, I gave it up and I was staying at home, I always had it in the back of my brain that I wished I had done more with it. I always felt like I enjoyed it, but it just was the timing, and it just wasn't right at the time, but it always gnawed at me that I had like unfinished business. I needed to explore it some more. And now that the kids are gone, I the timing just was right. I didn't have to oversee them so much, and it just felt right for me. So anyway, about 5 years ago, I started back onto my real estate exams, and I got my license, and I've been selling real estate now for Windermere Real Estate right in town here. And I'll show you my business card, since today is the only time I can show it off. So I'm gonna whip that baby out. Here's me. That's my official. If you ever need any help with any of your real estate needs, please look me up. We are right in town. I'll show you the front of the office, which I know you've all seen anyway. We're right off of 530. So just come on in, and I'd love to have a chat with you if anybody has any questions or anything. Let's see here. I guess I don't really have a specialty with real estate, but I'll tell you what I thoroughly enjoy about real estate that really stands out for me is I love first-time home buyers. I think it's just really fun to educate the younger generation, and sometimes it's not even the younger generation. There's a lot of people out there that have never bought a home, and to show them the ins and outs and all of the details. There's a lot more to it than some people know. A lot more paperwork these days than some people know than if you bought a house 30, 40 years ago. There's a lot more to it, a lot more rules and regulations, that's for sure. And I'm kind of venturing down a road of downsizers. I love working with people that are wanting to, just go from their big expansive homes where they raise their children to downsizing and helping them out with that whole next adventure of getting into something a little bit smaller and just slowing things down, helping them, I've even started a little avenue with that in helping people get in touch with, because a lot of people have been in their homes. We've all accumulated so much junk or whatever, and to fill the house. And I'm now helping them with organizers, getting them in touch with organizers and that type of thing, and helping them downsize in a organized manner and have it not be so overwhelming to them. It can be a real a high anxiety type of a move when somebody's going from a 3,500 square foot house to half of that, and you don't have that storage anymore. So anyway, I really enjoy that. I love helping people in that way, but I run the gamut as far as, all areas of real estate. But those two have just kind of stood out for me as far as, if I want to say a specialty or anything like that. Let's see here. If I go off of my list, as far as my personal downtime when I'm not selling real estate, I'm a big time sewer. I love to sew. I don't do enough of it. I wish I had my own sewing room so I can just leave it up and go to town. My mother taught me. My mother was, well, all of the women in my family were big time sewers, as were probably a lot of women of the early generations. It's just what you did. My mother made everything. We all wore homemade clothes. My mother even made all of our Barbie clothes. I wish I had that, but with me being the youngest of 4 girls, I had nieces and nephews by the time I was 11 or 12. So all of my stuff got handed down. So I don't have any of my mother's treasured Barbie doll clothes or any of that. And I love floral design. I did I worked for a flower shop in the Shoreline area, just right around graduation time. And I really enjoyed that. I love that type of design, floral design, or interior design. I think it just is something I really enjoy, and gardening, and we have a beach house that is right next door to David Duskin on Camino Island that we have raised the kids at, and we love to, you know, crab and fish and clam and all of that fun stuff at the beach. It's been such a great experience for our children to grow up there. It's a real treasure, I'll tell you that. It's a blessing and a treasure that we just value every day. Say our blessings for that. Let's see. One of the questions on the list was, what is the best thing that people don't know about me? And I was trying to come up with something really, really fun and exciting. But I think one thing that surprises some people, if you've ever gone out with me, not that I'm a big out on the town type of girl, but I grew up with a pool table. My father always had a pool table. He loved playing pool. We actually had a regulation pool table that he bought from a tavern many years ago. And so I grew up with a pool table in our rec room, and that's what we did all the time. Every weekend, if I had friends over, we played pool, and I'm a pretty good pool player. I'll have to tell you, you know, I've gone down to the White Horse and kicked a few butts in my time. Oh, let's see. And my dreams for the future. That was the last question on my list. Right now, you know, we're knocking on the retirement door. We're looking forward to downsizing ourselves. I got to downsize myself now. That's a big thing. I love to downsize for everybody else, but now it's my turn. I have to really turn the focus back on myself, because we're getting there. We with 2 homes to maintain and kids gone, it's time to pare down, and Brent and I are looking forward to maybe following the sun. That's what I'm looking for. I love the Pacific Northwest. My roots will always be in Arlington. Our hearts will always be on Camino Island for sure, but I need a little bit more sunshine. Every year I'm wanting just a few more months, and it's starting to get to me. So I really understand snowbird mentality. I get it. And that's our goal in the next few years. We've got a few more to go, but that's the goal, is to follow the sun and bounce back and forth. But we're enjoying our time here and looking forward to the next few months. I'm really looking forward to getting out of this year. And like I said, my daughter's wedding is our big light at the end of the tunnel right now. We are hoping and praying January 9th we can have at least, well, actually my daughter just heard that Seattle will allow 50 people. So now we can expand out of the wedding party itself, because we were at 30, and that encompasses about the wedding party and immediate family only. And so now we're able to venture out, and family that is on this, you will be hearing from us soon as far as final decisions. We've obviously had to change major gears, and but we're organizing something, and that we are really looking forward to, because it's been a tough year. That was a major disappointment, I'll tell you that. But it's all for the good. It's going to be beautiful, and we're really looking forward to it. And that's my story. Sorry, I kind of started out rough, but that's about it in a nutshell. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But other than that, thank you so much for letting me speak today. And that's it for me.
Hey, Jill, John Mino, I've got a question. First, a comment. If you just invite Duskins to your wedding, you need about 100. for the invite. But
I know.
the question is, how are you showing homes in a COVID environment?
Well, it has been to show homes that, John, that it's been so hard to even keep up with the changes. What it was initially was the agent and one other person. Then we went from the agent to 2 people could show homes. We have not been able to do open houses at all until, I think I just got the notice yesterday, but there are such strict regulations on us still to even do a open house that it sounds just totally exhausting for me, because we have to have 2 agents there at the house, one monitoring the door because we can only have, I think it's 5 people in the home at once. And real estate right now is really busy. I mean, it's been so mind-blowing for me. I mean, it hasn't because a lot of people are sadly running from Seattle right now. They're just wanting, more space and to get into the country and whatnot. But the interest rates helped a lot. But the open houses, it would scare me kind of, because I think they would be really busy, and to stay within the protocol, it stresses me out actually at the moment. So I'm kind of stepping into that. I don't have all of my listings right now are in escrow, so I don't have to deal with that. And I think when I get back into an actual listing, I'm going to address it as it goes, because right now it seems to be changing every day, the rules. And so I think right now, as of today, I think it's the agent, and they can have 2 other people with them as far as showing houses. I think that's where we're at for the moment. And it's, all protocol. Yeah. Mask up. You have to, sanitize in and out and that whole deal. So.
Jill, I have to think that you're excited that your property values have had to have gone up substantially when Gene Chase moved out of the neighborhood.
Oh, now. Well, I don't even feel like he's gone. I always see him mowing the lawn over there and riding back and forth on his lawnmower. And and then with AJ there, it's, I feel like he's still there. So it's always going to be Gene's house in my heart.
Hey, Jill, what part of Oahu was it that you were on?
Eva Beach.
Eva Beach, okay.
Eva Beach is where I was born. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife's family's from Kaneohe and Kailua, so more by the Marine Corps base. And I'll tell you, even visiting nowadays, most parts are okay, but there are certain parts that I won't go to without her uncle.
Yeah, there's Hawaii is beautiful, but there's some sketchy areas that you want to have a local with you.
For sure.
Yeah. I think all cities are like that though, or states, whatever you want to say, they all have their areas, but yeah, you got to be careful. That's for sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Joe, you might as well put in a plug for renting your beach house.
Oh, yes. Oh, shoot. I don't have it up there, but yes, our beach house next door to David is a rental, a VRBO. If you go on VRBO, well, actually, we have a property management with VRBO, but all of these companies now farm out that information to Airbnb, HomeAway, vacation.com. You can go on any of those sites and type Camino Island. Since I didn't have the forethought to put the house to share, if anybody would like to check out the rental, just reach out to me, text me. I can text it back to you. The site It's actually not for rent for a month or so right now. We're putting on a new roof and that whole deal. But yes, if you want to get away to a beachside residence and have some relaxation, you would really enjoy it. It's a beautiful spot. So yeah, let me know if you want that information. I would love to share it with you. Just let me know.
Yeah, and it's close to the Duskin Cocktail House.
Yes. Yep. Yep. You'll know your neighbor for sure. Yep.
Jill, I remember when you moved back to Arlington, and but before that, you had all your children were born in Arlington, isn't that correct?
Well, Presley was Seattle, and
Seattle?
yes, Denny and Evan were born in Arlington.
But you weren't living in Arlington. What? Share why you made that decision.
To move to Arlington?
No, to have children born in Arlington.
Oh, well, yeah, that would, well, Denny oh gosh, Dale, that was that's where my mind and my timelines, because, we had lost Carolyn and, well, actually, no, it wasn't even Carolyn. It was Renee. We had lost Renee. We were in the middle of building the beach house at that time. And so we were actually living in Green Lake. If you remember, that Green Lake house, Chris Barbie's house, and Brent was commuting to Kirkland from Green Lake. And then after Kirkland, he would go up to Camino Island to check on the beach house. And I was pregnant with Denny at that time. And so I decided, instead of having Denny in Green Lake, we knew our roots and our hearts were in Arlington. And when I went into labor, we booked it to Arlington to have him be born there, because we knew we would eventually be up that way.
There you go, Yola.
Yep. That was a given. We knew we wanted to be around family and set the roots down. My parents by that time had retired in Seattle in the Shoreline area in the house that I grew up in. And so, they were already 3 hours away, and my sisters were kind of spread out and raising their kids. And yeah, and Arlington was it. It was a no-brainer.
Any more questions for Jill? All right, very good. Well, thank you so much, Jill. Just a reminder to